What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Alex or CRWTH or whatever the fuck you want to call me, and today we're going to be making some phasey flanger type basses. Alright, let's just jump into this bitch. So this is a promo video for our sample pack, Saturated Drums. If you want to get that pack, link is in the description. Okay, so let's start off by breaking down the drums that we've used here. And then later you can bring in more elements via this loop. Pretty much just really slaps. It's really distorted and you know, borderline fucking clipping, but hey, I think that sounds cool. As far as any processing for these drums, I just grabbed the drum loop and the top cymbals, these right here, and just lowered down the low frequencies from the equalizer on the mixer. And that is pretty much it for the drums. That's why I really love this pack, is because these drums are already so processed that you really don't need to do much to them to make them punch. Let's move over to the sounds, to the basses. So we made all of these sounds with Serum. Now, what we used are waveforms from the pack. So I just pretty much grabbed something random for this bass here. We are actually using kick number 22. So drag the sample into Serum, into the dynamic pitch follow. So you get this long ass sample, and then I edited all of the fucking silent shit off. So I just grabbed that, and then I put remove all except selected, normalized each one, and then I morphed them, and I believe I used this one or crossfade. I don't know which, I don't remember, but it was one of those. So after that, you have this waveform here, and that is literally the sound. First, let's turn off all of these effects and talk about oscillator 1. The wave table is moving a little bit, and also the level, the volume of the sound is being automated by LFO1. So we have this little. Now you're gonna be like, yo, what the fuck? But that shit's pitching down. How are you doing that? Well, actually, that shit's coming from LFO2. This is this fucking little sweep down thing. The way I did this is I went to Matrix, I picked LFO2, I picked Master Tune from Global, and I just moved this up, you know, to wherever I wanted. Then, you know, I got this. We have a pretty cool fucking sound, if you ask me. Then I put the sub in. Then I put a filter on it, and the filter is only affecting oscillator A, as you can see, because the little fucking light is on. And I just automated the cutoff, and then I moved the fucking little knobs a little bit to give it a little bit more shape. So without it, and then with it. Oh, and also, I forgot to mention, I grabbed this waveform, and it's also 2 oscillators down. If it wasn't that low, you get that, and then 1 low is like. That was actually pretty cool, but I liked this one. Very guttural. Then we have some hyper and dimension. The LFO1 is fucking with the hyper mix right there. Then you have some distortion, and that's pretty set. Nothing's moving there. Then you have a flanger and the phaser. But as soon as you put an OTT on it, multi-band compressor, and turn up the gain, and realize that it actually sounds better without these. So let's hear it in the full mix. Alright, I'm gonna turn them back on. Okay, so here's the deal. Without them, it sounds cooler by itself, but in the context of all the other synths, I think it sounds better with it on. So we're gonna keep them on. Let's move over to the second sound, which is this long bass. Now, what I would like to do to this bass, if I were to use it on a full project, I will export it to Wave and then add my own sub to it. I'm not gonna do this here. I'll probably leave that for another video. The waveform that we use for this one is Percussion 65. And honestly, it's not like it matters. I'm not telling you guys that, oh my God, 65 is like the perfect one. It's just the one I found, and I made it sound cool from there. Now, I didn't do shit to this one because I didn't even go in and edit anything in it, because I wasn't gonna do any wavetable movement at all. I was gonna keep a static wavetable. So It kind of sounds like shit if you play any other note. I think it sounds dope in the E note. I actually duplicated the first one, but there is a couple of things that I changed. Replaced the oscillator A waveform. So let's start from the beginning, which is just oscillator A. And let me turn off all of these. So this is the wavetable, and again, I've turned it down 2 octaves right here. Then I got oscillator B, and I frequency shifted this shit with this shit, right? I turned this oscillator up 1 octave so that I get a higher, more resonating sound. And to get an even higher, more resonating sound than that, I put sync on the fucking wavetable, and that basically kind of like duplicates the wavetable so that the frequency of the wave is higher and you get a higher tone. At least that's kind of how I understand it. So look, see what I mean? I also have the level up. I could turn it off. I kind of like it on though. Thirdly, we have a fucking Combs filter. This Combs filter is actually a form of phasing. It kind of changes the sound a little bit, right? And then it also sweeps in a little bit with this LFO too, which I forgot to mention that is also automating the frequency modulation in oscillator A and also the level in oscillator A. Also the cutoff. So that's making this little sweep thing. Wham, wham, right? And finally we have a sub. And it's going directly out. Now we have the same shit for the last patch, just no automation on the mix. And then we have some distortion with a diode on it. That's really fucking that up. And then you have a phaser. And now this is where you're getting a really cool sound, in my opinion. Like a format sound, right? And then you have a ring mod. And finally, you have an OTT multiband compressor. So it's still a little bit of a messy sound. Like I said, I would export it to wave, take out the low end, and then put my own sub in there. Obviously, the drums and the cymbals and all of the instruments, you know, backing up the sound make it sound cooler in the full mix. And you also have this little white noise I added for texture, and so everything is helping each other out. Finally, we have the last sound, which is also another duplicate from the previous sound, but this one's using some different waveforms. For this waveform, we're actually using TSD Percussion 75. And we're just gonna drag it in here, bam. And let's delete the silent shit. And then we're gonna normalize each one, and we're not gonna morph it. So we're gonna look through here. That one's more similar. Just to prove my point that you don't really need to use a specific fucking waveform, let's go for a random one. Let's just grab fucking waveform 30 in here. I don't like that. So I take back my statement. It looks like 75 is actually like a really cool fucking waveform. I must have just gotten lucky when I randomly picked this shit, but I like that one. That one's like kind of fucking wet, you know what I mean? But anyway, everything is pretty much the same from the last one. Let me turn off all of the effects. The only difference, it's this filter here. It's not a Combs filter, it's a high pass filter. And this is what's giving it that vocally sound. As soon as I turn this shit on, you get that wow, 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 wow. So if I want to get more of a vocally sound, I can turn up the resonance. Wow, wow, wow. So let's see how that sounds with all the effects. So you have the hybrid dimension, the flanger, and then the phaser, automating the depth. See? Wow, right? And finally, OTT. And you can mess around with that. Now, there's something I did forgot to mention, and I'm sorry, but the whole time I had the saturation rack on, which is available in the Discord server. It's my little saturation rack. I've already broken this down in pretty much every video, so if you watch any of my other videos, you'll probably see what the fuck's in here, but you can totally download it for yourself. Check it out for yourself. And let's listen to this shit one more time from the beginning. I don't like this one like that anymore. Let me see if I can make it like it was. Yeah, that's better. Wow. So a lot of these sounds actually don't sound as cool on their own, but when you play it all together in this little composition, they sound very, very cool and unique. So that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. As always, if you wanna get this FLP, it is available for all my Patreons, so you can go head over to the link in the description, become a Patreon, and you can download this FLP and mess with it. Go check out our sample pack, Saturated Drums Volume 1. Every single sound in here comes from that pack, literally every single sound in here. So I hope you guys learned something. I gotta give a shout out. Uproot, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me on Twitter. If you want to get a shout out on the next video, make sure you turn on your post notifications for both Twitter and Instagram, and like and comment on my shit. And I'll see you guys on the next